Everyone. Today we're going to talk about the 1922-1923 season. Let's do a recap first of the 1921-1922 season. Toronto had finished the season with 13-10 and won 27 points on the season, 98-04, 97-10. Yeah, that is their lowest number. Yeah, and now let's talk about 1922, 1923, which is this is no longer. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Alright, let's get started. So, July 1922 begins on a Saturday and on a Monday. August 1922 begins on a Tuesday and on a Thursday. September 1922 begins on a Friday and on a Saturday. October 1922 begins on a Sunday and on a Tuesday. November 1922 begins on a Wednesday and ends on a Thursday. And December 1922 begins on a Friday and on a Sunday. So this is Saturday, December 16th, 1922, and that's win number one for Toronto. And that's 2 points on the season, and that's 2 goals against right there. Yep. And this is Sunday, December 17th, 1922. No change there. There. This is Monday, December 18th, 1922. No change there. This is Tuesday, December 19th, 1922. No change there. This is Wednesday, December 20th, 1922. And that's loss number one for Toronto, and that's 9-0 again for them. Yeah. So this is Thursday, December 21st, 1922. No change there. This is Friday, December 22nd, 1922. No change there. And this is Saturday, December 23rd, 1922. And that's win number two for Toronto. That's 4 points on the season, and that's 13-0 again. This is their lowest. Yeah. So this is Sunday, December 24th, 1922. No change there. This is Monday, December 25th, 1922. No change there. This is Tuesday, December 26th, 1922. No change there. This is Wednesday, December 22nd, 1922. And that's Wednesday, December 27th, 1922. And that's loss number two for Toronto. And that's 4 points on the season, and that's 22 again. Yeah. So this is Thursday, December 28th, 1922. No change there. This is Friday, December 29th, 1922. No change there. This is Saturday, December 30th, 1922. And that's loss number three for Toronto. And that's 30 old, and that's a 2-game losing streak, the longest losing streak since the 1921-1922 season. Or since, yeah. This is Sunday, December 31st, 1922. No change there. And this is Monday, January 1st, 1923. January 1923 begins on a Monday and ends on a Wednesday. So no change there. Yeah. This is Tuesday, January 2nd, 1923. No change there. Yep, 1923. And this is Wednesday, January 3rd, 1923. And that's Anyway, 23, and that's win number three for all. That's 6 points on the season, and that's 32 goals again for him. Yeah. And this is Thursday, January 4th, 1923. No change there. Yep. This is Friday, January 5th, 1923. No change there. And this is Saturday, January 6th, 1923. And that's loss number 4 for all. And that's 3-4 old ends for them. Yeah. This is Sunday, January 7th, 1923. No change there. And yeah, this is Monday, January 8th, 1923. No change there. And this is Tuesday, January 9th, 1923. No change there. And this is Wednesday, January 10th, 1923. And that's win number 4 draw. That's 8 points on the season. And that's 40 old ends. Yeah. So this is Thursday, January 11th, 1923. No change there. And then Friday, January 12th, 1923. No change there. And that's Saturday, January 13th, 19. And, and this is Saturday, January 13th, 1923, and that's tie number 1 for Toronto. That's 9 points on the season. That's 42 over the end. And this is Toronto's point streak here. Their longest point streak since the 1922-1923 and the 1921-1922 season. Right there. There. Yeah. And this is Sunday, January 14th, 1923. No change there. This is Monday, January 15th, 1923. No change there. This is Tuesday, January 16th, 1923. No change there. This is Wednesday, January 17th, 1923. And that's loss number 5 for Toronto. And that's 47 goals against. And that is a 2-game winless streak. Their longest winless streak since the 1921-1922 season. And this is Thursday, January 18th, 1923. No change there. And this is Friday, January 19th, 1923. No change there. This is Saturday, January 20th, 1923, and that's loss number 6 for Toronto, and that's a 3-game winless streak, their longest winless streak in franchise history, and that's 50 old again for them, and that's a 2-game losing streak as well, and it's also a 2-game losing streak and a 3-game winless streak. So this is Sunday, January 23rd, 1923. No change there. And this is Monday, January 22nd, 1923. No change there. Yeah, this is Tuesday, January 23rd, 1923. No change there. And this is Wednesday, January 24th, 1923. And that's win number 5 for Toronto. That's 11 points on the season, and that's 51 over again for them. Yeah. And this is Thursday, January 25th, 1923. No change there. This is Friday, January 26th, 1923. No change there. This is Saturday, January 27th, 1923. And that's win number 6 for Toronto. That's 13 points on the season. That's 53 over. Yes, this is their longest winning streak since the 1921-1922 season, the previous year. Where's the previous year? I think you want to look that up. So, and they made it very clear, very not. Well, one. Yeah, so that's Saturday, January 27, 1923, no change there. And this is Sunday, January 28, 1923, no change there. This is Monday, January 29, 1923, no change there. And this is Tuesday, January 30th, 1923, no change there. This is Wednesday, January 31st, 1923, and that's loss number 7 for all, and that's 55 goals again. So, not very good defensively overall this season. This is Thursday, February 1st, 1923, and February 1923 begins on a Thursday and ends on a Wednesday. So yeah, so and this is Thursday, February 1st, 1923, no change there. Like this is Friday, February 2nd, 1923, no change there. There. This is Saturday. This is Saturday, February 3rd, 1923, and that's win number 7 for all. That's 15 points on the season. And that's 15 points on the season. That's 60 goals in. Toronto, not a very good season for that. Yeah. They made the playoffs for the second year in a row for the first time in franchise history last year. So, yeah, they weren't playing very well. So this is Sunday, February 4th, 1923, no change there. This is Monday, February 5th, 1923, no change there. This is Tuesday, February 6th, 1923, no change there. This is Wednesday, February 7th, 1923, and that's win number 8 for all. That's 17 points on the season, and that's 62 goals against. So, not very good start for all. Yeah. And that's now a 2-game winning. And that is all. And that's 17 points on the season. That's 62 goals against. And that is a 2-game winning streak right there. Yeah. So, this is Thursday, February 8th, 1923. No change there. This is Friday, February 9th, 1923. No change there. This is Saturday, February 10th, 1923. And that's loss number 8 for all. And that's 67 goals again for them. So, yeah. So, yeah. This is Sunday, February 11th, 1923. No change there. This is Monday, February 12th, 1923. No change there. There. This is Tuesday, February 13th, 1923. No change there. Next month, Saturday, Sunday, February 11th, 1923. No change there. Monday, February 12th, 1923. No change there. Tuesday, February 13th, 1923. No change there. And this is Wednesday, February 14th, 1923, and that's win number 9 for all. And that's 19 points on the season, and that's 71 goals against for him. So, goals for as well as 58. So, Thursday, February 15th, 1923, 3 no change there. This is Friday, February 16th, 1923, no change there. This is Saturday, February 17th, 1923, and that's win number 10 for all. And that's 21 points on the season, and that's 73 goals again. And it's a 2-game winning streak as well. So, yeah. So, this is Sunday, February 18th, 1923, no change there. This is Monday, February 19th, 1923, no change there. This is Tuesday, February 20th, 1923, no change there. And that's Wednesday, February 21st, 1920. And that's loss number 9 for Toronto. And that's 79 over yeah, and that's 72 over 4. So yeah, so this is Thursday, February 22nd, 1923, no change there. This is Friday, February 23rd, 1923. 3-0 with no change there. And this is Saturday, February 24th, 1923, no change there. And that's win number 11 for Toronto. And that's 23 points on the team, and that's 82 over. And yeah. And this is the next one Sunday, February 25th, 1923, no change there. And yeah, this is Monday, February 26th, 1923, no change there. And yeah, this is Tuesday, February 27th, 1923, no change there. Boston didn't have a particularly great start as well, but to their franchise as well. I remember this time very clearly. Yeah, so this is Wednesday. Yeah. And that's Wednesday, February 28th, 1923. And that's loss number 10 for Toronto. And that's 85 goals again. So yeah, so this is Thursday, March 1st, 1923. And that, yeah, no change there. There's no change there. This is Friday, March 2nd, or March 1923 begins on a Thursday and ends on a Saturday. So yeah. So this is Thursday, March 1st, 1923. This is Friday, March 2nd, 1923. No change there. We're going through this series like rapid fire. So this is Saturday, February. This is Saturday, March 3rd, 1923. No change there. And that March 3rd, 1923. That's Saturday, March 3rd, 1923. And that's win number 12 for Toronto. That's 25 points on the season. That's 88 goals against for them. And this is Sunday, March 4th, 1923, no change there. And that's Monday, March 5th, 1923. And that's win number 13 for Toronto. And that's 27 points on the season. And that's 88 goals again. The Toronto Maple Leafs would miss the playoffs for the first time since the 1919-20 season. Overall this year. They did miss out on the playoffs this year, so they won't have 509-04 and 64-04 will. And that's when yeah, their offense was simply not great this year overall. And sadly, man, the Toronto Maple Leafs will, and they finished the season with 88 goals. Yeah, that's their lowest goals against in franchise history. In franchise history. Yeah, in 1922-1923, they missed the playoffs this year. And this was also the same point total as last year, too. And that's also despite having the same point total as last year. So Ottawa beat Vancouver. 3-1. And then Ottawa wins the second Stanley Cup. Wins actually their first Stanley Cup overall, actually. And we'll look everything up for 1922, and we'll look at what happened to everything throughout the year 1922. Oh yeah, so Venus ingresses into Aquarius on January 24th, 1922. Venus reaches Superior conjunction on February 9th, 1922. The last time there was a Superior conjunction at this time of the year was 1914. Venus ingresses into Pisces on February 17th, 1922. Venus then ingresses into Aries on March 13th, 1922. Venus rises into the evening sky at 10° Aries. Venus then ingresses into Taurus on April 6, 1922. Venus ingresses into Gemini on April 30th, 1922. Venus then ingresses into Cancer on May 25th, 1922. And then Venus ingresses into Leo on June 19th, 1922. Then Venus ingresses into Virgo on July 14th, 1922. Venus would then ingress into Libra on August 10th, 1922. And then Venus will then ingress into Scorpio on September 7th, 1922. Venus then reaches Easter elongation on September 15th, 1922 at 8° Scorpio. Venus then ingresses into Sagittarius on October 10th, 1922. Venus then stations reach maximum brightness as well, and then Venus stations retrograde at 9° Sagittarius on November 4th, 1922. Venus, the last time there was a Venus retrograde at this time of year was in the year 1914. Venus then sets in the evening sky on November 19th, 1922 at 5° Sagittarius. Venus then reaches inferior conjunction at 2° Sagittarius on November 25th, 1922. The last time there was an inferior conjunction at this time of the year was in the year 1914. Venus then regresses back into Scorpio on November 28th, 1922. Venus then rises into the morning sky at 28° Scorpio on December 1st, 1922. And then Venus stations direct at 24° Scorpio on December 15th, 1922. And that's the end of Venus cycle. Now we gotta move on to Mars. And now we're gonna move over to Mars. So Mars interacts in the Sagittarius on February 18th, 1922. Yeah. And then Mars stations retrograde on May 8th, 1922. At 25° Sagittarius. The last time there was a Mars retrograde at this time of the year was 79 years ago in the year 1843. And then 47 years ago prior to this would be in the year 1875. Mars reaches opposition on June 10th, 1922 at 18° Sagittarius. The last time that happened was in the year 1843 and in the year 1875. And then Mars stations direct on July 16th, 1922 at 11° Sagittarius on July 16th, 1922. The last time there was a direct station at this time of the year was in 1843 and again in 1875. Mars ingresses into Capricorn on September 13th, 1922, and then Mars ingresses into Aquarius on October 30th, 1922, and then Mars crashes into Pisces on December 11th, 1922. So yeah, like I said, I don't think you can do anything. Oh, you are done. You are done. Okay. We're also going to talk about the sun as well. So, the sun ingressed into Aquarius on January 20th, 1917. It then ingressed into Pisces on February 19th, 1917. And then, we're going to give, and then, their narrative. And then, sun ingressed into Aries on March 20th, 1917. And then March and the sun ingressed into Aquarius, into Aries on March 20th, 1917. But then the sun crashed into Taurus on April 20th, 1917. The sun crashed into Gemini on May 21st, 1917. The sun crashed into Cancer on June 21st, 1917. The sun crashed into Leo on July 23rd, 1917. And August, the sun crashed into Virgo on August 23rd, 1917. The sun crashed into Libra on September 23rd, 1917. The sun ingressed into Scorpio on October 23rd, 1917. And then the sun ingressed into Sagittarius on November 22nd, 1917. And then the sun ingressed into Capricorn on December 22nd, 1917. So yeah, the sun ingressed into Aquarius on January 20th, 1918. And then the sun ingressed into Pisces on February 19th, 1918. The sun ingressed into Aries on March 21st, 1918. The sun ingressed into Taurus on April 20th, 1918. The sun ingressed into Gemini on May 21st, 1918. The sun ingressed into Cancer on June 22nd, 1918. The sun ingressed, and that's also our summer solstice. The sun ingressed into Leo on July 23rd, 1918. The sun ingressed into Virgo on August 23rd, 1918. The sun ingressed into Libra on September 23rd, 1918. The sun ingressed into Scorpio on October 24th, 1918. The sun ingressed into Sagittarius on November 22nd, 1918. And the sun ingressed into Capricorn on December 22nd, 1918. Moving over to 1919 now. And the sun ingressed into Aquarius on January 20th, 1919. And then the sun ingressed into Pisces on February 19th, 1919. The sun ingressed into Aries on March 21st, 1919. And that's for an equinox. And then the sun ingressed into Taurus on April 20th, 1919. The sun ingressed into Gemini on May 21st, 1919. The sun ingressed into Cancer on June 22nd, 1919. The sun ingressed into Leo on July 23rd, 1919. The sun ingressed into Virgo on August 24th, 1919. The sun ingressed into Libra on September 23rd, 1919. The sun ingressed into Scorpio on October 24th, 1919. The sun ingressed into Sagittarius on November 23rd, 1919. And then the sun ingressed into Capricorn on December 22nd, 1919. Again, the sun ingressed into Aquarius on January 21st, 1920. The sun ingressed into Pisces on February 19th, 1920. The sun ingressed into Aries on March 20th, 1920. The sun ingressed into Taurus on April 20th, 1920. The sun ingressed into Gemini on May 21st, 1920. The sun ingressed into Cancer on June 21st, 1920. Deciding President of Leo on July 23rd, 1920. Deciding President of Virgo on August 23rd, 1920. Deciding President into Libra on September 21st, 1920. Deciding President of Scorpio on October 23rd, 1920. Deciding President of Sagittarius on November 22nd, 1920, and then the deciding President of Capricorn on December 21st, 1920. Deciding President of Aquarius on January 20th, 1921. Deciding President into Pisces on February 18, 1921. Deciding President of Aries on March 20th, 1921. And deciding President of Taurus on April 20th, 1921. Deciding President of Gemini on May 21st, 1921. Deciding President to Cancer on June 21st, 1921. Deciding President to Leo on July 23rd, 1921. Deciding President of Virgo on August 23rd, 1921. And deciding President of Scorpio on October 23rd, 1921. Deciding President to Sagittarius on November 22nd, 1921. And then deciding President of Capricorn on December 22nd, 1921. And and in 1922, deciding President of Aquarius on February 20th, 1922, deciding President of Pisces on February 19th, 1922, deciding President of March 21st, 1922, into Aries on March 21st, 1922, deciding President of Taurus on April 20th, 1922, deciding President to Gemini on May 21st, 1922, and then deciding President to Cancer on June 22nd, 1922, and then deciding President to Leo on July 23rd, 1922, and then deciding President to Virgo on August 23rd, 1922, and then deciding President to Libra on September 23rd, 1922, and then deciding President to Scorpio on October 23rd, 1922, and then deciding President to Sagittarius on November 22nd, 1922, and then deciding President to Capricorn on December 22nd, 1922. So, in theory, yeah, Jupiter ingressed into Scorpio on October 26th, 1922, the last time there was an ingress here, and Jupiter was ingressed into Scorpio within the year 1910. Yeah, Jupiter stationed retrograde at 18 degree Libra on February 2nd, 1922, and then stationed direct on June 6th, 1922 at 8 degree Libra. Well, yeah, with an opposition, with Jupiter reaching opposition right there. Yeah, I want him bad. Huh. Yeah, and Jupiter reached opposition on April 4th, 1922. So yeah. Yeah, we have a Venus super conjunction on August 26, 1922 at 17 degrees Libra. The last time there was a Venus super conjunction at this time of the year was 24 years ago in the year 24 years ago in the year 1898. In the year 1898, yeah. So I just want to say now, alright, everyone have a wonderful day. Alright, bye bye everybody.